I've been talking about tactics in the Sicilian on the E6 square. I've been referencing it in the last few examples. So I might as well go ahead and show you a really good example of this that also serves to show our theme. And it comes by way of Tal, who else? And I'm happy to show you this position because it's juicy. And so take a look now. Tal is playing against Suetin in 1969. This is after he had already lost his world championship, but he still had some skills and played some beautiful games. So in this position, he played a pretty natural enough move to open up lines. He played the move F5, attacking the knight. Suetin decided to exchange off on this square and then play knight to E5. He probably should have played knight to E5 right away without the exchange. But he decided to trade and I guess get the D5 square for his knight. So the white pawn is no longer here, so this knight may be able to go here in the future. Positional decision that's going to haunt him because Tal now dropped the bomb on him. Knight to E6. And this is just in your living room. Here we are. The knight has shown up. The horse is on the sofa, and you're going to have to deal with it. And of course, the knight is attacking the queen on C7 and the pawn on G7. So this knight's got to go. And so Suetin played bishop takes, and now pawn takes. Obviously, black's pawn is pinned, so within your visual field, this move is actually not that spectacular, knight to E6. It's like, well, the pawn was pinned anyway, so not necessarily that special a tactic. Until you see what Tal's actual point was, because now that the pawn is under attack, if black now continues G6, I should say black did continue with the move G6, Tal played the spectacular shot, queen takes E5. Now wake up the kids because the house is on fire. And this move is just one of those flame-throwing moves that Tal was famous for and that he saw coming, no doubt, long in advance. That's a shot if you've ever seen one. The queen is hanging. You're giving up the queen. You're left with just a few pieces. What's going on here? Well, it's all calculated to death. Pawn takes queen. Pawn takes pawn with check. And black, staring at the board for a long time, decided he did not want everybody in the world to see the finish to this one and resigned. Well, why? Because for some very obvious reasons. First of all, if he were to play the move king to F8, well, that's just mate in one. Cute mate, but not what we're after in terms of aesthetics. The other move to play there, too, is to play a simpler one, king to D8. But this loses the entire house after queens check, take, rook takes, king up, and now bishop F5, double check. King has to go to C6, and then bishop to E4 check. And look at those bishops, the rook on the D file. I mean, so much power and control. This is a very good time to resign. Obviously, if you play knight to D5, then even something like rook takes in the corner, just leaving this knight here to nibble on the next move, and white just has overwhelming material advantage. The other alternative here was the move king to D7, slightly more complicated, but not by much. Again, the double check, king back, king to C6, bishop to E4 check, knight in the way, take that guy with check, king back to D7, rip somebody else with check, and we're going to queen this pawn. King E7, bishop G5 check, and if you play king to F8, then obviously a bishop to H6 check, followed by queening the pawn, followed by more food, and crushing. That move, knight to E6, in this case, the knight to E6 move was but a prelude to the real move on the protected square, queen takes E5. This is how the serious chess players play, and this is the kind of thing I want you to start paying attention to, because you're going to shock your opponents like this. You're going to surprise them, even if your move doesn't win on the spot. Just being able to play a move on a square like that has such psychological value. It just shocks the opponent. They're thinking, am I playing Tal? And you'll be sitting there thinking, yeah, you are.